Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana video. Today is the 29th of October. I hope you all are doing well out there. It's been a crazy few days with work and just getting caught up. Hope you guys all had a great time at Seattle. It was a fun time watching it on the on Sunday. Watched the finals live. Um, you know, you guys know how I feel about Green Steel, so not going to dwell too much on that. But it was nice to see a Steel song make it in, despite all the Green Steel that was being played. I was fortunate enough to play in a set championships on Sunday, which was a ton of fun. Went with 3 IRL friends. We played. I ended up not unknowingly was in a match for top 8, and I won the first round. And then lost the next 2 rounds and actually got bounced because of that. I didn't really know. That's my second time ever playing like in a tournament format. Just didn't really know what I was up against, and I mean it might not even changed if I knew. But I did get bounced, but it was a ton of fun. Like I said, went with 3 buddies. We all have young kids and families and stuff, so it was nice to get away. I mean, there was a packed house. We did like 5 rounds of Swiss, and they each have the 55-minute time limit. So I mean, it was 5 hours just for that, right? And not every round starts on time. The event started a little bit late, but amazing turnout. I'm shocked that the Mirabelle is only a 35 to $40 card. The card is cool, and it just takes. I mean, it's a large time commitment. And when I think about I went to one, right? I didn't place. But I would gladly pay $40 for that card. I would gladly pay $50 for that card. So, and there's obviously there's top 8, so there's a ton of them, lack of demand, whatever it may be. But it just seems like a really good value for that card. Okay, guys, we got a couple things to hit on today. Obviously, been quite a bit without a video. So first and foremost, there is a sale going on today for 30% off toys on the Disney Store. Now, if you have the, I think it's Rakuten membership, you can also get 15% off additional on top of that. So some very significant savings here. They have had Floodborne throughout the day, but it is selling out. So if you go to the Disney Store, you go to Lorcana, you search for all Lorcana, you will see that this says low stock and it's for $100. If you click into it, it's sold out. Now, it has been getting restocked throughout the day, a few boxes. So I would recommend following Lorcana Restocks on Twitter. I've shown their handle several times before. They are letting us know whenever the bots are triggering that these are restocked, so you can possibly try and get some. Fair warning, as someone who bought a lot of these the last time they were on sale, they do not come in a sealed case. So if you're able to somehow get 4, just know that it will be individual boxes. It will not be a sealed case. Do not be a Timmy like me and open your sealed cases in expectation that you're going to have more sealed cases coming, and then you get sealed boxes, and now you have no sealed Floodborne cases. So do not be like me. With that being said, though, the 30% deal is still good for everything else. So there's Inkland, Shimmering Skies, Ursa's Return, everything like that. I would say that, in terms of like deals, Inklands would probably be the only one that I can really recommend at this point. Expected value on the boxes, guys, we're creeping up to 208 on the first chapter. We're at 102 for Rise of the Floodborn. We're at 97 for Into the Inklands. Ursula's Return is at 72, and Shimmering Skies is 76. So once again, guys, just as a reminder, because we haven't talked about this in a while, this is someone in Discord that has provided me with this information. They are assuming a 1 in 96 pull rate for the Enchanted, which I'm completely fine with. That matches my pull rate pretty consistently, and I know a lot of you guys as well. Obviously, there's some outliers, but in theory, that's kind of what you can expect. And then I've matched this person's expected value up with other people when they put it out, and it's always right in line. So I expect those. I assume those values are correct and true. And we're at 208 for the first chapter, which gets us into the next thing here. The first chapter obviously it's continued to dry up. We haven't seen any official news of a reprint, restock, etc. So there's still been a lot of volume here. First, looking at the sealed booster box case, just over the last week, we had a sale at 1,000. A lot of sales at 1,150. Then we got up to 1,200. Someone came in and undercut them at 1,139, and then we had another one at 1,200. I will say that some of these like lower sales, people have commented on my videos and let me know that like, hey, I'm the one that bought that, $1,000 listing, and it actually never came. They sent a tracking number that was not valid or something like that. So if you see like an outlier low sale, a lot of the time if it's too good to be true, it is. Right now, the lowest verified on TCG Player is $1,240 all in. So we've continued to creep up. Obviously, this puts the price per box at around 300, 310. All in to get the sealed case. I remain steadfast that the sealed case, if you can afford it and you're able to set it aside and leave it sealed, I think a sealed case is going to be a great way to go about, kind of that investment into the future, more so than a box. That's not to say that the boxes are not valuable. They definitely are, but a sealed case would be my preferred route. One thing I did want to point out is if you hop over to eBay, the most recent sale for a sealed case, it was best offer accepted, so I didn't go on 130 point to look at the actual final, but it was 1,555 with $103 shipping. Obviously, they accepted an offer, so your guess is as good as mine at what that closed at, but probably relatively in the same range as where the lowest listings are now, which is about 1,400 if I'm not mistaken. 1,500. So 6 watchers on that case. It's the lowest on the market, and then we get into all of our second print, first print, or whatever goodies with the yellow sticker. But 1,500 is the lowest on the market. I think there's 2 available, so we've got 2 at 1,500 on eBay, and then it's going to go up from there. One thing to keep in mind, guys, you might wonder why there's such a discrepancy between eBay and TCG Player. TCG Player is very much a North America, Canada, North America, centralized, or Canada, America, North America as a whole, centralized platform. So a lot of people overseas, like Europe and some of the other countries, do not use TCG Player. They will use eBay. And so that's why this is more of like a North America specific marketplace. When you look at eBay, you have a much wider demand because you're looking at more people. And so that's why I do recommend, if you're going to sell something big like this, best bet is going to be to offer international shipping on eBay and sell it there. It is very easy to ship internationally with eBay. I have a card that I'm getting I don't want to show it because I've got the person's information on there, but like I'm shipping something overseas today that has all of their the buyer's information. eBay helps me with like all the customs and stuff. It's really not a big deal. So if you are looking to sell stuff like this, as it comes to Lorcana, it's got obviously a worldwide fan base and a lot of people looking for it worldwide. TCG Player is a very niche specific side of things in terms of only North America. Selling on eBay will open up your horizons to a bigger set of buyers, and that's why you see a $1,500 case as the lowest on eBay versus the $1,250 that you see on TCG Player. Not to say that it's bad to sell on TCG Player, it's absolutely not. I prefer to sell my singles there, but a big item like maybe a sealed first chapter case, if you were looking to sell it, better place on eBay. And then on top of everything that I just said there, kind of the cherry on top, it is very easy to get tax exempt on eBay. TCG Player has offered it in the past, but they are currently not accepting any new applicants to that. And so people on eBay also might be doing some sort of reselling. They're tax exempt. And so even if the price is a little bit higher, saving on the tax there versus going to TCG Player is going to be a little cherry on top, right? Nothing too crazy in terms of that. But that's kind of what we're looking at for the first chapter sealed case. We are, and we kind of expected this, but we are starting to see the card prices of the first chapter start to rise a little bit. I think that the fact that the Rise of the Floodborn, and let's go to all sealed here for a second. The fact that all of the Floodborn is sold out on the Disney Store as well, I think we're going to kind of just continue to see these two trends go right in line with each other. Let's go to sealed, high to low. So a sealed case right now for Rise of the Floodborn is $650, it looks like. All in, let's look at the sales data here. We've had similar sales to kind of the first chapter in terms of volume. $490. See, like these are the outlier ones. Like I doubt someone sold a booster box case for $490. Maybe they did. There's 2 sales here. Who knows? I doubt it, but nevertheless, we did have one sell a couple days ago for $650. Lowest on the market is $650. I think that's probably a fair price for it. I think the cases for Rise of the Floodborn, guys, I just don't think there's that many out there point blank period. I do not think there's a lot of them. And so while there's definitely more than 7, right, I don't say there's not a lot of them to FOMO in or generate some sort of like, oh, I'm going to miss out, I better go get one. That's not the case. There is a lot more than the 7 we see here, but there's just not that many in general. When you think about the other sets, I think Rise of the Floodborn is the least printed set. I think that obviously a lot of them were broken up whenever they were sent to the Disney store, right, and they're being fulfilled one box at a time versus the case. I just think there's a lot of reasons why that case premium for Floodborn might make a lot of sense in the future, because there's just not that many of them, right? Not a lot of supply to match the demand. But going back to my original thought, the first chapter booster box expected values up to 208. It had got down to around 200 pretty consistently there for the last few weeks, and it's starting to slowly creep back up. And so I know a lot of people have said like, hey, why is the Elsa not going up in value with the first chapter? And just keep in mind, guys, that as these boxes start to dry up, it's going to take a while until we really start to see that supply dry up, because those boxes have been, so many of these boxes have been open, so many of the singles are out there. We really need the demand to grow in order for those singles to really get dried up and start to elevate the prices. And so it's got to go through the cycle where no more is being open, what's on the market is on the market, and then you have to give time for it to go through all the proper hands, get to the collectors, etc. And that's going to take time, especially when you talk about a card like the Elsa that right now it's like an $800 to $1,000 card. Obviously that's an expensive buy for a piece of cardboard. Plenty of people out there that will do it, but at the end of the day, it's just going to take time. But we are starting to see that first chapter tick up. It went up $1.13 overnight in expected value, and I think we're going to continue to see that trend in the same direction. Now, in that same vein, guys, something to keep in mind here is, while we have these sealed boxes and cases of first chapter and Rise of the Floodborn starting to dry up, right, over the coming weeks and months, we're going to start to see the singles slowly go up in price. At the same time, we also have like a little bit of a lull in demand in terms of these competitive events. So set champs just ended, right? There might be a couple straggling stores out there, but for the most part, set champs are behind us for the next few months. We have no DLC events. Seattle just wrapped up, and that was the last DLC event for this cycle. Now we have Continentals and Worlds coming into the beginning of 2025, but those events are very small in terms of player size. The Lorcana Challenge events that have been going on have been 2,000 players, plus you have all these people playing in the side tournaments. For Seattle, there was 12,000 people signed up whenever you went to the website. So that gives you an idea of like, just that one DLC event had 12K people that were playing in either the main event or the side events. And so overall, that's just a preposterous amount of demand, but these tournaments are done for a while. And so people might, they might come into bills. They might, say, hey, I'm not going to be playing for the next couple months, sell off these cards, pick it back up later, whatever. And so you might see a decrease in demand, increase in supply from that side. And so some of the playable cards might start to come down. And so if you are looking to maybe get into competitive Lorcana in 2025, might not be a bad time to be on the lookout for some of these staple cards to come down, whether that's your Rapunzels, your Sad Beasts, or your Robin Hoods, things like that. I think we're going to be we're in for a good time for some of those cards, especially like the Diablo comes to mind, because Ursula's Return is a set that has a very low expected value anyway. That card is one and then Ursula's Return is definitely still in kind of the current rotation. I feel like that's one that we could see it come down quite a bit in price here, but who knows? Just if you're in the market for cards, I think it's going to be a decent time to pick them up, because we're just in a little bit of a lull as it relates to the competitive market. And so I think we've got two factors here. We've got the dry up of the first two sets in combination with the decrease in demand, because there's just not a lot going on in the competitive space. And right now the market is driven primarily by players. And so the fact that there's not a lot of these events just means that it's going to slow down the market quite a bit. And that's just what it is. As Lorcana continues to grow and they're running their advertising, they're releasing their new sets, we get into Continentals, we get into Worlds, just continues to do its cycle. Obviously more collectors will come in, but for right now, the demand is around the players, and so we're going to start to see it pull back a little bit, just simply due to not a lot of events. So that is kind of where we're at on the sealed front. First chapter booster box is still climbing pretty high. We got 319, 305, 300, 300, 300, 320, multiple boxes at 320, 303, most recent sale. We do have a sale or a box for 296, lowest on the market. See, these are the ones, guys, like, I mean, and I don't know if, I'm not saying this listing isn't legit, but they've got a 0% satisfaction. And they've got a couple boxes priced pretty well under market. They're probably legit, but it's just something to keep a lookout for. Lowest verified on the market is 312 for one single box, and then we're up to 319 from there. 319, 319. 340 lowest listing, and then there's still just not a ton of boxes. But keep in mind, guys, these are, this is all-time high for this box, right? When we look back 6 months ago, or actually probably even a year chart, like we can see it got near this back in March of this year, and then we got that huge restock for the set championships that came. But at the end of the day, we're back to kind of all-time highs, and so it's just we need this period to be slow. We need it to be organic. We need people who want to get their hands on the first chapter before it's out of reach to be able to get it, and then it's going to slowly uptick from there. But we don't want to see it spike to 600 immediately or something like that, because that alone might trigger Ravensburger to issue a reprint and ramp up those printing machines. So we want slow and steady uptick here. Let the people that want to get first chapter get it, and then we'll kind of slowly increase from there. Loving what I'm seeing here. Not a ton on the market, right? First page, we've got maybe 20 boxes total, 25 boxes. There's not a huge volume of listings. Now, as the price continues to creep up, like every time we get to a new price point, whether it's 320, 350, 375, 400, we're going to see an additional influx hit the market. But when you look at all of the boxes listed on TCG Player across the entire platform, I mean, we're looking at rough count, sub 100 boxes, I would say for sure. Somewhere around there. So there's just not a lot listed right now. Once again, as the price continues to tick up, we're gonna continue to see that fall in line. So that is where we're at for the first chapter. Hopping over to Azurite C. So for those of you who are not familiar, Azurite C will be dropping here within the next 2 weeks. We'll get the hobby store release, and then 10 days after that, we'll be getting the big retail release. And I think we've got most of the reveals at this point. I am going to put this link in the description. It's the Mushu Report link that will have all of the card reveals. You can also check out Mushu Report because they put out all sorts of good articles as it relates to Lorcana, like the Enchanted Reveals. So we have our first 2 Enchanted Reveals. The first one that was released was this Basil card here, Disguised Detective, very unique format, kind of a map. I think I don't know what they're necessarily calling it, but it's the idea is obviously around the sea and the map, and that's kind of the vibe that they're going for. So you see the first reveal here. Hop over to Captain Amelia, which was released this morning. My newborn's name's Amelia, so I'm a fan of this card. But at the end of the day, we have another very unique style here, right? So for Shimmering Skies, they kind of match the style of those cards with the theme of the set, with this party in the sky and so on. And so the colors were very vibrant. They popped a lot. It was very different than the first 4 sets. We're going for a very similar vibe here out at sea. You got your treasure map, etc. And so they're kind of following at that vibe as well. I'm going to be completely honest, guys. Like I got, this is another thing for Set Champs. When I went to Set Champs, the store was awesome. They gave us a first chapter pack, and then they gave us a pack per win, which is probably standard, but the first chapter pack seemed over the top. But they gave us a pack per win. I won multiple rounds, so I got quite a few packs. I opened the first chapter pack. I got a cold foil Whole New World, which was fantastic. That paid for my entry into the tournament. And then through my Shimmering Skies packs, I got the Vanellope Enchanted, which was really, really cool. So I was going to try and pull it out real quick, but it's too far away. But regardless, when I opened that pack, that card was just shining. You can even see it. I kept it hidden as well as I could, but you can just see the foiling kind of showing through. And it just popped, right? And so it's just an awesome card. I love the enchanted design from Shimmering Skies. Now, I will be the first to admit, I did not love it when it was originally released. I didn't love them. When I saw the first couple, I thought I could do without it. I started to see them in person. I have the Robin Hood, I have the Clarabelle, I have the Vanellope. They pop. They're awesome. I love them to death. Look, similar vein here with when I first saw the Shimmering Skies Enchanteds. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I love these. I don't. I think that part of what makes the Enchanted chase and pull so special is just, the designs are awesome. They pop and they are just so damn cool. And so I'm giving Ravensburger and the artist benefit of the doubt because they've done so well to this point. I will still participate in Azurite Sea. It's going to be a great set. There's a lot of really cool cards. I would be lying to you guys if I said I was amped up about either of the Enchanted Reveals from a pure art and kind of color perspective. The cards are cool. Like, this card seems very, very OP. Another Emerald discard card. I'll just quit now. But at the end of the day, I think that, you know, this is just a different format. I want to see them in person. I also want to see if they continue this trend throughout the entire Enchanted Reveal. We've got some really, really good cards that are going to get Enchanteds. And, you know, I just don't know if all of them make sense for that color scheme. For example, like the Maui Half Shark. I love this art. I think the card's awesome. I would imagine it's going to get an Enchanted. Maui already has one. This is kind of like an iconic form, you know, shapeshift from the movie. It's a very good card. I hope this one gets an Enchanted. And, like, I don't know, the red and the blue, like, I just don't know if this would look good in that, like, style. Like, I want to see some more, you know, some more colors. I want it to pop. And so, once again, I think we got to give Ravensburger and the artist the benefit of the doubt. They've done an amazing job so far. So hopefully those Enchanteds look better in person than what I'm getting them credit for after initial reveal here. But you know, the verdict remains out as of right now. I'm not going to be chasing either of these cards. I'm not going to be going out of my way to buy them, barring I see them in person and I completely change my mind, which absolutely could happen. You know, I had very similar feelings about Azurite Sea, or about Shimmering Skies. I talked to one of my buddies. He's like, you got to think about the theme, you got to think about the colors, you're at this party, etc. And it kind of clicked, and then I loved them. Maybe one of you guys can convince me that these are awesome and it matches the you know, the vibe of the set. At the end of the day, it's all going to come down to what does it look like when you hold it, when you pull it, when you put it in your binder, when you put it in your deck. What type of vibe does it give off? They've got a very high bar, in my opinion, based on some of the Enchanteds that have previously been released. The art on the Enchanted cards are the best in any TCG, in my opinion. But that's coming from an old head who likes you know, WotC Pokemon cards. So take that for what it's worth. With that being said, guys, that is going to be the end of today's video. Hopefully that was good. I apologize for being inconsistent here. Just been swamped at work, and sometimes it be like that. So don't forget to hop over to the Disney store if you're looking to pick up some Inklings. That would really be the only one I can recommend right now to pick up at that price. Now, if you get the 30% off, then you have the membership that gets you 15% off. Maybe Ursa's Return, Shimmering Skies makes sense at that point as well. But just from a pure EV perspective, I think Into the Inklings is really the only one that is a really good opportunity right now. The other ones are fine, but this is the only one I think that makes a ton of sense. And then obviously, if you can catch a restock on Rise of the Floodborn, I would say pull the trigger if it makes sense for you. So with that being said, guys, I appreciate you watching the video. I appreciate everyone who reached out, checking on me. No concerns, just had a lot going on, so no videos for a couple days. I will be back with another video soon, guys. Talk to you later. Goodbye.